Hello all and welcome to this hands-on lab. In our lab today, we will learn how to use AWS Transit Gateway to communicate between two VPCs in the same region. Before we continue further ahead, a couple of things to keep in mind. Using AWS services leveraged in this lab can incur charges. Hence, ensure that you clean up all resources after completing this lab. Reference URLs. This particular URL on the screen is a URL from AWS documentation that you can refer to. A few steps in our lab have been taken from this particular URL. In fact, I have it open right here. So this is basically an article that talks about how to get started with transit gateways. And you can certainly refer to this article to create the transit gateway or to even test it, or basically refer to some steps like how to attach your VPCs, etc. I have detailed steps in my presentations as well, but you can keep this URL handy in case you need to refer to it. Prerequisites for this lab is knowledge of AWS Transit Gateway. So in case you do not know what this service is all about, please refer to this overview tutorial that I had created some time back. URL to the tutorial is mentioned right here at the bottom. I will also have it mentioned in the description of this video. Scenario for our lab today. You have two unpaired VPCs in the same region with one subnet each, right? So you have two VPCs in the same region with one subnet each. You need to telnet port 22, this is the SSH port, from a public facing EC2 instance in one VPC to a private EC2 instance in another VPC, right? So in short, this is your VPC 1, right? Let's call it VPC 1, and this is your VPC 2, right? Both of these are in the same AWS region. They have one subnet each. So this is your subnet, right? Let me just put in subnet over here. Now you need to telnet port 22. So telnet is something very similar to ping. So you need to ping port 22 from a public facing EC2 instance in one VPC. So let's say this VPC, VPC 1, has a public facing EC2 instance. That means it has a public IP address. To a private EC2 instance, that means this is your EC2 instance over here. This is internal and let's say private. So it does not have any public facing IP address. So you basically need to ping or telnet from this EC2 instance to this private EC2 instance in another VPC. So the intention is to telnet over port 22. The scenario is very simple. Both these VPCs, as I said, are not paired or are unpaired. That means there is no trusted connection between them. And if you want to communicate to this private VPC, private EC2 instance in the second VPC, then you will have to do something about it. How are you going to communicate? Because they don't have a trusted communication setup between them. And that's exactly what we are going to do in this particular lab. So I hope that this particular scenario is absolutely clear. Steps for our lab today. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to provision our VPCs. Remember, we have two VPCs with one subnet each, right? And since one of our VPCs has a public facing EC2 instance, I'm going to provision an internet gateway. And just to keep it consistent, I'm going to provision internet gateways for both the VPCs, but you don't need to do that. But in real life, right? Let's say if in real life, you may have other EC2 instances over here that might have public IP addresses. Although the one that you are going to communicate with is not going to have a public IP address. So let us get started. I'm going to close this URL. And the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to provision our VPCs. So I'm going to go to VPC. And both the VPCs are going to be in the same regions. I'm in North Virginia, but you can choose the region of your choice. So this is VPCs right here, right? So in my case, I'm going to create two VPCs with names VPC1 and VPC2. And these are the CIDR blocks of both the VPCs. Of course, you are free to give whatever names that you like, and you are free to choose whatever CIDR blocks that you like, right? I'm just using these CIDR blocks and these names. And this is just for consistency and just to make it simple enough for everybody to understand. Okay, so let us go ahead and create our first VPC. So VPC1, right? And the CIDR block is 10.0.0.0/16, right? This as a CIDR block. And tenancy is going to be default. Everything else is fine. Create VPC. So our first VPC has been created. Let's create our second VPC. So VPC2, and the CIDR block for this is 198.0.0.0/16, right? And everything else is good. Create VPC. So both our VPCs have been created. So this particular step is over. Now we have to create one subnet in each VPC, and I'm going to use these names, that is VPC subnet 1 and VPC2 subnet 1. So you can again use whatever names you like, and these are the CIDR blocks of our subnets, right? Again, you can use your choice of CIDR blocks as well. So let us go ahead and create two subnets. So one subnet in each VPC. So select VPC, VPC1, right? We are going to give the subnet name as VPC1, subnet 1, and availability zone, I'm going to use US East 1A, and CIDR block, I'm going to use as 10.0.1.0/24. There you go. So this is our CIDR block. Our name is good. Just going to copy it, right? And create subnet. We are going to create a second subnet now. So that is going to be in VPC2. And our name is going to be VPC2 subnet 1, right? And I'm going to use availability zone as US East 1B. And our CIDR block is going to be 198.0.1.0/24. Create subnet. I think everything looks good. And our subnet should be created. So both our subnets are created. So we have completed this step. Now we are going to provision two internet gateways, and these are the names that I'm going to use, that is IGW1 and IGW2. And after we provision our internet gateways, we are going to connect them to our respective VPCs, that is VPC1 and VPC2. So let us do that. Internet gateways, create internet gateway. I'm going to use the name as IG1, IGW1, create internet gateway, internet gateways. Again, we have to create a second internet gateway now. So IGW2, and create internet gateway. And both our gateways have been created successfully. Now we have to attach them to our VPCs. So since this is Internet Gateway 1, I'm going to attach it to our VPC 1. There's VPC 1, attach Internet Gateway. And this is IGW2, attach to VPC, and select VPC2, attach Internet Gateway. So both our Internet gateways have been attached. So this step is complete. The next thing that we need to do is we need to rename VPC1's default route table as VPC1RT and VPC2's default route table as VPC2RT. Now this renaming is important, right? As you move further ahead, if you don't have the right names, you will get confused. And hence I have chosen these names and I'm sticking to them as well. So if you are following along with me, please go ahead and rename these route tables and ensure that your naming convention is there in place, right? Even if you're not using the same names, just jot them down as to what the name, whatever name, you have been giving to your VPC subnets and other entities that you have been provisioning. So let's do that. So route tables. So which is our route table? This is our route table for VPC1. So let us rename this. So VPC1 hyphen VPC1 hyphen RT, right? Save. And now it's going to be VPC2 RT. So we have successfully renamed our route table. So we have completed this step. Change both the default route tables to add a route to its internet gateway. So let us do that. So routes, edit route. This is VPC 2's route table. So add a route. This is a default route. Target is going to be internet gateway. This is our internet gateway, and save changes. So we modified our VPC2's route table. Similarly, now we have to modify our VPC1's route table. So edit routes, add a route, default route, internet gateway, IGW1, save changes, and both our route tables have been modified to add route to our internet gateway. So this particular step is over. The next thing that we need to do is we need to ensure that the subnet that we had provisioned in a VPC is associated with VPC's default route table. Okay, so by default, it should be associated. But we are going to double check and ensure that it is. So let's go to our route tables. This is our route table for VPC1. Let's go to subnet associations, right? And there it is. See, without explicit association, the subnet is associated. That is very good. Again, go to route tables, route table for VPC2, subnet associations, and our subnet is associated without any explicit association. So that is really very good. Okay, so we have completed this step. Next step. Now we need to provision EC2 instances and security groups. The first thing that we will do is we will create two security groups with these names, right? So VPC1 EC2SG and VPC2 EC2SG. We will create these two security groups in their respective VPCs and add an inbound rule to open port 22. This is the port that we have to telnet on. Port 22 is used for SSH and we are just going to open it just as a normal port, right? So it's just going to be open for anybody to SSH into. This is just a normal setup, like typically however you would have. So let us go ahead and create our security groups. So services, EC2, and we have to go to security groups. Scroll down and there is security groups. So create security group and remember the name. So it's VPC1, EC2, VPC1, EC2, SG. Yeah, that's the name. So I'm just going to copy it. That's the same name that goes into description. This needs to be associated with VPC1. So select VPC1. We have to add an inbound rule. So add rule, select SSH, port 22. We are just going to open it, right? We are good with outbound rules. Add a tag. We say name, same name, right? That's the value right there. And create security group. A security group has been created successfully. That's a security group right there. This is for VPC1. We need to create another security group for VPC2. So click on create security group and it should be VPC2. Be careful of the naming, right? Copy that in description. Select VPC2. Again, add a rule, SSH, open the port. We're good. We are good with outbound rules. New tag, name, that's the value, create security group. And both our security groups should have been created. So that's 1 and this is 2. So 2 security groups. So we have basically completed this step. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to provision our EC2 instances. So we are going to provision 2 T2 Micro Linux EC2 instances with name EC2.1 and EC2.2. EC2.1 is going to be launched in VPC1 with public IP address. EC2.2 is going to be launched in VPC2 without public IP address. And we need to associate them with our security groups. So let us go ahead and provision both these EC2 instances. So instances right there. Launch an instance. Select T2 Amazon Linux 2. Select this. Select T2 Micro over here. Next. This is going to be in VPC1. And remember, the EC2 instance in VPC1 has public IP enabled. Next. Next. Security group, we need to basically use a security group that we created, that is VPC1 EC2SG. Review and launch. Launch. Select your key pair and launch instances. So this is our EC2.1. So let's give it the right name. So it is EC2-1. EC2. Sometimes this plays a little some tricks on you. Okay, so but ensure that you just give the right name. So EC2.1. There it is. Let us launch our second instance. So again, Amazon Linux 2, select T2 Micro. This is going to be in VPC2. So select VPC2. Public IP is disabled. Next. Next. Select the corresponding security group. There it is. Review and launch. Launch. select your key pair and launch instances. And our instance has been launched successfully. Again, please ensure that you give the name correctly. So it's going to be EC2 hyphen 2. And if it's playing tricks on you, just like how it is doing with me right now, then ensure that you stick around and give the right name. So I don't know, it's probably a bug. It just removes the name after you type it for some reason, but just save it. So both our instances have been provisioned. So EC2 does not have a, EC2 does not have a public IP address, but has a private address. And EC2 has a public address as well, right? So it does have a private address and a public address. So this particular step is complete. Step number 3. So now our basic setup is done, right? So this setup that we were discussing about, creating the VPC, right? Creating the subnet, provisioning the EC2 instance is done. So it's done for both the VPCs, right? Having your internet gateway also over here if you want to show that, and your route table, right? Your route table is also there. So all of this has been done. So now we need to continue further ahead, right? So remember that both these VPCs are not peered or are unpeered. So there is no way for them to communicate amongst themselves. And for us to be able to do that, we have to provision AWS Transit Gateway. So that's our next step. So what we are going to do is we are going to provision a transit gateway and name it TG1, provide an Amazon side autonomous system number. And this is a number that we are going to use, and I'll provide additional info on that. Leave all of the settings as default. And after your transit gateway has been provisioned, then we will add both VPC1 and VPC2 as attachments. Now, if you don't know what attachments are, please go and review the overview tutorial that I had shared earlier, right? I've explained in that tutorial what is an attachment. And finally, after we have attached both the VPCs, right, we will go and check our transit gateways route table to ensure that routes for both the VPCs have been propagated. Now, provisioning of the transit gateway, attaching the VPCs, and for the routes to get propagated, this takes some time. So please be patient. So let us now go ahead and provision our transit gateway. So go to VPC. And if you scroll down, you will see transit gateways right there where my mouse is. And this is transit gateways. So click on transit gateways. Create transit gateway. Name that I'm going to give is TG1. Description is also TG1. And this is where we give that big number that you saw, right? Amazon side autonomous system number. And if you click on this info, it actually provides the additional info over here, right here, right? So this is basically autonomous system number, right? For the AWS side of the BGP protocol session. And you can pretty much give any number between, these ranges right here that they have mentioned. Just to make things very simple, what I have done is I just copied this number that I'm highlighting right now, right? So just copy this number, and that's the same number that's mentioned over here as well, right here, right? Copy that number and just paste it right here, and you should be good, right? That's something that it uses internally to set up the session. You don't need to provide the setup block, keep all the settings default, and click on transit, create transit gateway. And your transit gateway is in the process of being provisioned. Now, as I said, this takes some time, right? So be patient. And I'm going to pause the recording and I'll restart the recording once the transit gateway is available. So our transit gateway has been provisioned and it is available. So we have basically completed first 3 steps. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to attach both our VPCs. So go to transit gateway attachments right here on the left. Click on that. Click on create transit gateway attachment and you can give it a name. So I'm going to say PG1, VPC1, right? Transit gateway. Select your transit gateway. Attachment type is VPC and select your VPC. So this is VPC1, right? Yeah, this is VPC1. So I've selected VPC1 and create transit gateway attachment. Similarly, we have to create another attachment for VPC2. Transit gateway attachment type is VPC. Select VPC2 over here and click on create transit gateway attachment. So both our attachments have been created right there. So they are in the process of being provisioned and coming available. So we have completed this step. Now we need to go and check our transit gateways route table. If both our VPCs have attached successfully, then the routes to those VPCs should be propagated by transit gateway in its route table, right? So let us see if these VPCs have been attached. Seems they are still in the process of being attached. One has been attached, that is good, and is available. And the second one is still in progress. So let us go and look at a transit gateways route table. Let us see what we can see right now. So this is our transit gateways route table right there. So click on that. And we have to go and click on routes. And let us see what routes we can see so far. So we are basically seeing the route for VPC1. Remember, there's a CIDR block for VPC1 that has been propagated. If you see the route type over here is propagated and it is active. If you refresh, hopefully you should be able to see VPC2 shortly. Maybe not yet. Okay, now VPC2 is available. So go back and okay, both the VPCs have been attached, as you can see. Now let's go to routes and hopefully we are able to see it soon. Okay, now you have both the routes for both the VPCs right there. So both VPC1 and VPC2, both these routes have been propagated. And most importantly, they are active. So we have basically completed this step. Step number 4 is to modify our security group. Now, why are we modifying the security group? Remember, our intention is to telnet on port 22. But telnet itself uses port 23 for communication. So we have to open port 23. Remember, the only port that we have open right now is 22. Generally, telnet port is not open, but we are just opening it right now for this particular lab, right? Because we want some way to check if we can communicate between both our EC2 instances that are on 2 different VPCs. So we are going to go ahead and open inbound port 23 for telnet. Now, when we open this particular port, we are going to ensure that it is open to a specific CIDR block. That means for VPC1, we are going to open the port for the CIDR block of VPC2 and vice versa. That is, for VPC2, we are going to open it for the CIDR block of VPC1. So let us go ahead and do that. So services, go to EC2. Go to security groups. And that's our security group right there. So this is a security group for VPC1. Select a security group. Edit inbound rules. Add a rule. Custom TCP. Port is going to be 23. And remember that we have to open this port for the CIDR block of VPC2. So 198.0.0. There's the CIDR block .0/16, right? Yeah, that's the CIDR block right here. And save this particular rule. Again, go back to security groups for VPC2. Edit inbound rules. Add a rule, custom TCP 23. And we have to provide the CIDR block of VPC1. And there it is. Save rules. And we are good. So we have completed this step. Now we have to modify the route tables of both the VPCs to route traffic to transit gateway. So what are we trying to do over here? So you have your VPC1 over here, right? This is your VPC1 and this is your VPC2. Let's say if a request arises in VPC1 for an IP address that is in VPC2, right? So let's say if the IP address request is 198.0.1.0, something like this. VPC1 will say, okay, I don't know what this IP address is. It's definitely not one of the IP addresses that I have in my VPC. So what am I supposed to do with this IP address request? We need to ensure that this request goes to transit gateway, which is sitting right in between. So this request should be directed to transit gateway. Remember, transit gateway acts as the cloud router. And it should be the one who should decide to whom this request should go to. So in our case, this request should be further propagated to VPC2 so that it can fulfill that request, because VPC2 knows what this IP address is. Okay, it is one of my EC2 instance over here. This instance is 198.0.1.0.0. Right, so that's my EC2's IP address. But for this communication to happen, that is to ensure that this request gets propagated to transit gateway, and then in turn, transit gateway is able to direct it to the correct VPC, this particular route needs to be added. Now, this can be true in the reverse direction as well, right? So that means, let's say VPC2 says that I have a request for 10.0.1.0. What should I do with this? It needs to send this request to transit gateway, and transit gateway will again send it to VPC1 because VPC1 knows what this IP address stands for. So to ensure that when a specific IP address request comes, it gets redirected to transit gateway, we will need to add these routes to our route table. So let us go back, go to services, go to VPC, route tables, right? And remember, we had named them. So this is one of the reasons why you have to name them correctly. Select your route table, routes, edit routes, add a route. Remember what the route should be. It should be the route, or the CIDR block should be the corresponding VPC's CIDR block, right? So in this case, this is route table for VPC1. So it should be the CIDR block of VPC2. So right there, that's the CIDR block. What should be the target? The target should be transit gateway. There it is, that's our attachment. Save changes. Route tables, select your VPC2's route table, routes, edit routes. Now this is VPC2, so it should be VPC1 right there. It should be redirected to transit gateway. Select your attachment, save changes, and both our route tables have been modified successfully. So we have completed this step. So our entire setup is now in place, right? So this entire scenario that we had discussed, creating the VPC, creating the subnet, provisioning the EC2 instance, having your internet gateway, having your route table, everything is there in place. We also have our transit gateway in place now and the corresponding attachment from both the VPCs. So everything has been modified and is there in place. So now, if everything is truly there in place, then you should be able to communicate between the two EC2 instances using the second EC2 instance's private IP address. So what we are going to do now is we are going to SSH into EC2.1 using its public IP address. Then we are going to install Telnet. And then we are going to ping EC2.2 using its private IP address on port 22. If our setup is there in place, then these two EC2 instances should be able to communicate. That means your ping should be successful. So let me open PuTTY. Let us copy our EC2 instances public IP address. So this is our EC2 dashboard. Instances, EC2.1, that's the public IP address. Copy it, paste it right there. I'm going to increase the font size a little. And browse, open, yes, EC2 user, and we are connected. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to install any kind of updates and then install Telnet, right? So let's install some updates. I'm going to clear the screen. Sudo yum update, right? So yes, it is performing all the updates right now. Okay, so update has been completed. Clear the screen. Next thing we need to do is install Telnet. So sudo yum install Telnet. Telnet. So Telnet has been installed. So again, clear the screen. Now we have to Telnet from here to EC2.2's private IP address. This is a private IP address, so copy that, paste it right here, and we are going to Telnet to port 22. So let's put port 22. If everything is accurate and working and our routes are active and our transit gateway is in action and is able to redirect our request correctly to VPC2, then this request should be successful and it should get connected. So let us try. So it was trying to connect to this particular IP address. It got connected, and there you can see it has opened an SSH connection right now, right? So that means these two EC2 instances are able to communicate amongst themselves right, using a private IP address. So we have basically completed this step. And the reason why these two EC2 instances are able to communicate is because of transit gateway. So transit gateway is redirecting the request correctly. So if you want, you can basically terminate this as well, and it will close the connection. So guys, I hope that this hands-on lab was helpful. Do post your comments, do try it out on your own. The service is really very nice, right? I will try to create some additional hands-on labs if possible, but this is if from me today. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.